Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Mechamac, this is Let's Play Oxygen Not Included. Our base looks a little different from the last time we saw it, doesn't it? This is just a little side project I've been working on. It's a normal sized swamp star asteroid, so our core base looks quite different to the usual sandstone biome. We've got cobalt and mud and dirt everywhere, but there's one specific reason why I'm doing this. This is just sort of a little side entry to the game. I've been doing some work towards getting the Job Suitability Award. I hadn't thought about how hard I slightly set myself up to not be able to pull it off easily because when you've got duplicates spread out across the galaxy, all with their own bases that are somewhat cramped to build in, it can get hard to guarantee that everyone that uses an Atmos suit every cycle. But what I've done here is I've moved my entire population onto the main base. I've locked up the end of one of the hatch ranches. And I've set up Atmos suits for showers. We are very nearly there if I check the colony summary, but while we wait for everyone to take a quick shower and to get everything done, let's have a look about. Up here, I've converted the top corner of the hatch ranch into a science facility. This one is actually a laboratory because I'm playing quite late in this game. Over here, we have a bunch of shovels. I'm keeping them in this retired water storage facility for easy access for the supercomputer. All the walls are made out of obsidian tiles or pneumatic doors, so these guys are staying inside. However, there's this guy right here, this Delectavole. Delectavoles are burrowing creatures whose bodies sprout shareable tonic when regolith is ingested at preferred temperatures. So, picky eater. We need to keep their food at either 70 degrees or 80 degrees. But I don't want to feed him because then they'll gunk up the pneumatic doors and escape, so not gonna happen. I have my Dreco Ranch over here, Glossy Dreco Ranch. We've got a lot of plastic. It won't last if I try to build anything really massive out of plastic, but it can provide me the needed steam turbines, such as the steam turbine I want to put here, so I can focus on cooling the base, because the thing about swamp biomes is that they're not very good for... It's easy to get a ton of food for these guys, it's just hard to preserve it, because of all the polluted oxygen. So I have my little infinite storage corner here, but there's no really proper cooling for this thermoregulator, so eventually that's going to overheat, hence why we've got our start of a cooling loop here. Let's see, where else? I've started building luxury barracks. I don't have much room for them, but I have been working on them. I'm starting to work on moving the carbon skimmer down a level so I can extend my base down a level. That'd be nice. Over here we have a med bay because I actually chose to... I sent my dupes to work into this area without any protection so one of them could get slime lung, because that gives an achievement. Cure them of slime lung. Obviously we don't want to... Obviously the downside here is that we absolutely cannot use any... We can't rupture this area until we're absolutely prepared and we've dealt with all the slime lung in it, because this is a lot of slime lung. I have plans to work on this nat gas geyser, and wouldn't you know it, right after I set up this Atmosuit station ready to work on this gas geyser, it came online. If we look a bit further down, we still have manual generators installed, and the main point of this little corner of the world, we're working on a carbon skimmer here, don't think too hard about it. This is our oil biome axis. I have a double liquid airlock to preserve it, I'm trying to replace this part of the liquid airlock to change it from water to oil, but it's not the biggest rush. We have a hydrogen vent here. It produces 500 degrees. We're not ready for it, especially since it's overpressure, so the moment we so much as dip a toe in here, it's going to start spitting out superheated gas again. But down here we have our oil biome and the access to the supply teleporter output. The main point I want to show here is that abyssalite isn't supposed to conduct heat, but with liquids it has this tendency to flash, which is why we have this petroleum and extremely dense sour gas here. It's why I replaced these insulated tiles, why I replaced the abyssalite with insulated tiles, because we just could not handle that heat. We have a few lone slicksters wandering around here and there. So when we do start up a slickster ranch, it'll be fine. I have a spore chit here. Usually I just have a box of seeds that I contain everything in, but I'm not moving that spore kid because we have a lot of pips wandering around this base. I cannot risk them finding somewhere to plant a spore kid. I have this very large, mostly called out sandstone biome where I'm keeping a bunch of wild Drekos and tame Drekos who I just don't have room in the ranch for. But here's an important point. I found the Gravitas shipping container. I found out how you get at the hermit. It's not easy. We have to feed him we had to feed him 3 unique food items which are 4 or higher quality. 4 is actually a very hard quality level to get to. If I had nat gas, then I could make him some pepper bread, surf and turf, mixed berry pie. I do have options, but if you'll remember, this nat gas geyser is on. We can't deal with that yet. I can't jig it up safely. It might melt the water lock that I'm using to keep the slime lung trapped. But yeah. You also have to improve his decor to 120. That's pretty hard to do. And you have to give him power to the building for 3,000 seconds. It's not easy to do. So yeah, he's just going to be sitting there minding his own business. If we look elsewhere, you see these were added to the game after the LP had been running for a while, so I honestly can't show them in the main game. Over here we have the Critter Fluxomatic. After sending 5 different critters through it, the Critter Fluxomatic can be used to convert normal critters into genetic variants. So if you send a hatch through, it could turn into a sage hatch, a stone hatch, or a smooth hatch. So if there's a specific variant that you really want to get but just don't have a way to get them bred naturally, such as, say you wanted some Drekos. Drekos only have 1 variant, so sending a Dreko through here automatically converts them into a glossy Dreko. An idea that I've been thinking about for a while is a Sweetle ranch where you breed Sweetles, but the meat they produce goes through one of these Critter Fluxomatics. The thing is, I think Sweetles breed so quickly that the Critter Fluxomatic actually would be too slow. I have maxed this out in the past, it's not easy. It takes 1 full cycle, and I think the production rate for a Sweetle ranch is a bit above that. And if we glance over to here, we have a fossil. This is another line of jobs, where we have to dig up 4 fossils. You need a duplicate that is a Masterworks artist, so it's actually rather hard to do, but there's also a problem that some of these are really hard to get at. So when we first dug up this area, it was actually super frigid air. Very hard to dig through. Like, we've solidified the carbon dioxide. That's how cold it is. And looky there, job suitability. I probably will do this on my main run, but not today. But it'll be a very long distance in the future. I'll have to do some restructuring of my base to get that out. But yeah, so here's the other fossils. This fossil is in carbon dioxide with a spore kit. So you need to find a way to contain the germs before you go anywhere near it. That's hard. You'd also need an Atmo suit to protect the duplicant going in there. Where else was it? There's one down here, and the only problem that I have there is finding a nice route to dig through to get at it, so it's not too hard to get at. But the other one, if I can remember where it was... Well, okay. The main problem here is that it is stupid hot. It's actually supposed to start off with a lot of lines of lava, but it looks like over time it actually cooled down enough to freeze, so it's just very hot igneous rock now. But it's also very hot hydrogen, so it's very likely to hurt people when we try to dig it up, even if they are wearing their uniforms, so that's a project that'll take a while to get through. The last story trait is this thing, the Somnium Synthesizer. Analyzes dream journals produced by duplicants wearing pajamas, provide a sustainable boost to duplicants' skills and abilities throughout the colony. I've never actually dealt with this thing before because it just always seemed like too much hassle, but let's give it a shot. Because if you'll notice, this is right next to my SPOM. It'd be quite easy for me to, I don't know, just create a gas valve, perhaps? Yeah. Well, it would if not for the fact that this, that's right over my fire pole, isn't it? Oh wait, that's an obsidian gas pipe, isn't it? Okay, we can fix that. So yeah, it's going to take some dream journals, but once we do get them in place... Now what was the other thing I'm doing? Oh yeah, this is the water that I'm using for the SPOM. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to warm up all the polluted water coming out of this extremely cold slush geyser, but I have found a way to at least preserve it for now. I've been running my metal refinery off the water here. So it's actually been doing a pretty good job of keeping the water above freezing temperature. And it's just barely enough water. Well, actually no, it's slightly below the water that we need, but fortunately, very close by we have this cool steam vent. So when the time comes, we just... when we start to really run low on the water needed to run the SPOM, we've already got we've got a cool steam vent here ready to fix it. And the excess water can be sent down here to the oil biome. Although I feel like there was somewhere... Yeah, there's another cool steam vent over here, so this can... This will also be part of the this will also be part of the oil biome's workings. And up here we've got another cool slush geyser, so we've got plenty of water. We can keep everything running, no sweat. But yeah, the one downside on playing on the larger map, because the larger map gives us so much more breathing room, it gives us extra biomes to check out, it gives us an oil biome at the roof floor of the facility instead of just a lot of iron and rock and then a whole line of lava. Instead it gives us an oil biome to mess about with. But the problem is that when you get to the roof of the facility, yeah, we have our super frigid biome like before, But we also have shovels. That's why I was able to get shovel eggs from the care packages, because these guys live in the roof of the colony. And I have to be really careful, because if they find a way into my facility, then they're going to start messing everything up. They'll eat all the dirt and spit it up. They'll eat all the dirt and the iron and spit it up in the most inconvenient spots. I need to make sure that when I punch through to this space, I'm ready for them. We also have meteor strikes, which is why there's so many cracks up here, and why some of these shovels are extremely badly hurt. Like, this guy's already nearly a barbecue, as is this one. If there's one more thing that I have plans on this asteroid, these 2 pip eggs. I'm actually planning on setting up a small nature reserve of arbor trees. Although it won't be that much of a nature reserve, it will be wild arbor trees, but I'm going to install some shipping. Because I want to set up an ethanol loop. Said ethanol loop is going to be used, well... I can use the water for my SPOM if I really want to. That's one advantage. But I mainly want the ethanol loop for the dirt. Because I want to take this area way up in space. I'm going to build a facility for making sleet wheat. And bristleberries. Because I want to make infinite berry sludge. We had a little bit of berry sludge here earlier, but it's gone now. Main point is, berry sludge, it doesn't rot, so I can make infinite amounts of it. I can just feed everyone in the facility berry sludge. I can stock my rockets with berry sludge. I want berry sludge. I haven't made a proper berry sludge farm in my main run. That feels like such a missed opportunity, honestly. Yeah, point is, we've got... This isn't that... This is going to be a bit of a nightmare to talk about, but despite 53 hours, I don't consider this a properly full run. This is just me mucking about. But I wanted to show me getting that job suitability achievement. Anyhow, Stinky is actually our ancient knowledge duplicant. We brought him over from the sister asteroid, so before we end the episode, let's look at what I was doing over here. So, first of all, we pop into reality here. I have picked up an arbor acorn here. It's just, well... I don't have a good way to... I don't have access to the interplanetary transport yet, so that's a thing I have to do when I send people back. The supply teleporter output was in a surprisingly odd position, because this means that the bees and their super frigid radioactive biome was in just the right spot for the supply teleporter to be. Which is actually kind of a bad thing for them, because it means that the two areas are having their temperatures mixed up. Eventually the bees will die out. In fact, this beehive was actually very drowned when I first found it, because a puddle of ethanol had somehow found its way out over from the rust biome and completely drowned it. So, I dug my way down, I pumped out as much of the ethanol as I could get, which is quite a lot, let's be fair. And I set up a little signal switch for this beta hive. When I bring my duplicants back here, I'm going to flick a switch and it'll stop producing new bee tiny. When that happens, I can just... when all the bees are dead, I can lock it back up, send someone in for the auto harvest. Get a whole bunch of enriched uranium ore, and that's the sweeter than honey achievement. So yeah, I'm on a pretty good track to get all of the limited achievements here at least. Although, when I come back, Stinky's going to be in charge of digging his way up to this supply teleporter because we really need to get our hands on it. I want to start that arbitrary ranch. Oh hey, this carbon dioxide guys is awake now. It's getting its carbon dioxide everywhere. Sadly, it's liquid carbon dioxide, and we'd prefer to have the gaseous type because that's what puts the bees to sleep. I feel like it'd be a lot easier to punch my way to space on a Radiator here anyway, but I will. There's no line. There's a lot less defense on this planetoid in comparison. So we have to be a lot more wary about how we find our way to space here. I think I need a long line of bunker tiles, which means a whole ton of steel, which means we have to run this thing for a very long time. I'm not complaining, it helps keep the water at oxygenation levels. It helps keep the pipes from shattering from the water freezing. There's no problems here. Anyhow, until next time guys, take care, see you all around. I hope you enjoyed seeing this little side project Oni that I was just doing to kill time.